Start things off with our first story. We go straight to our Cheongwadae correspondent Hwang Hojun, who has been standing by at the Seoul Media Press Center. Hojun, do give us the latest.
Daniel, so when Presidential Senior Press Secretary Yoon Yong-chol briefed the media this afternoon, he noted that there were a lot of firsts today. It was the first time Kim Jong-un has ever held a bilateral summit in Pyongyang since he came to power in 2011. It was the first time for the North Korea's first couple have greeted a foreign dignitary at the airport, and of course, it was the first time an event in Pyongyang was ever beamed live to Seoul. President Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un started their bilateral meeting at 3:45 p.m. at the headquarters of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. South Korea's director of the National Intelligence Service, Hoon, and President Moon's top security advisor, Chung Eui-yong, were also in attendance, as well as Kim Yo-jong, the younger sister of the North Korean leader, and Kim Yong-chol, the director of North Korea's United Front Department. It was a first meeting of at least two, which is set to take place in the next 2 days. We have yet to hear what exactly were discussed between the two leaders and when or if the meeting officially ended. After the summit meeting, the two leaders are set to attend an art performance by North Korea's Samjion Orchestra and Singers. It is also expected that South Korean pop singers Zico and Ailey, composer Kim Yong-chol, and magician Choi Hyun-woo will also participate in that performance. A welcome dinner will then follow, which is expected to end around 9 p.m. Korea Standard Time.
Well, we did see some live feeds today after President Moon's departure from Seoul Air Base. What has been the reaction at the press center, especially with the additional footage coming in today?
Well, this being the second time the reporters have watched a live encounter between President Moon Jae-in and the North Korean leader, the reaction here at the Seoul Press Center was a bit subdued than that of last April, but definitely all eyes were glued to the screen right behind me. While we did anticipate Kim Jong-un would greet President Moon at the airport, many did show some excitement when Kim Jong-un and his wife Lee Sol-ju emerged and walked towards the South Korean Air Force One. As I said earlier, it is quite unusual for a country's leader to greet a foreign counterpart at the airport, and this is North Korea that we're talking about. But probably one of the most striking images we have seen so far was the two leaders' motorcade from the airport to Baekwawon State Guest House, the same venue where former presidents Kim Dae-jung and Roh Moo-hyun both stayed when they visited Pyongyang in the year 2000 and 2007, respectively. Watching literally thousands of North Korean citizens lining up on the sides of the streets, waving flowers and shouting 조국 통일, which means homeland unification in Korean, as President Moon Jae-in and his North Korean counterpart rode in an open-top Mercedes through Pyongyang, the jaws of many reporters here at the press center fell to the floor.
Okay, well, Hojun, it was really quite the spectacle, as you mentioned, but beyond all the pomp and circumstance, can we expect any formal agreements like the ones in the past?
Well, that part is definitely unclear. Although we did hear from Presidential Chief of Staff Im Jong-seok yesterday that if all things go smoothly, we'll be able to see a joint press conference given by the two leaders. Yoon Yong-chol stressed this morning, more important than a statement or an agreement between the two leaders is a regular dialogue continuing. Take a listen.
The president said we're at a stage of institutionalizing peace from the routine of the threat of war. We're looking to earn peace, an irreversible and a lasting peace in the region. We aren't looking for declarations or adding more agreements. Instead, we're moving forward to a new era based on the agreements already made.
And in terms of keeping close communication with the U.S., Yoon said it won't be easy to do so during the three-day summit, but he stressed that President Moon will in fact brief U.S. President Trump in person as he visits New York for the new UN General Assembly next week. Back to you, Daniel.